The internet's been an uproar about the situation. I'm going to touch on it briefly. First and foremost, I want to say I love both my parents, but the situation that is put before y'all is not how it went down. I'm not about to get into all the details. But long story short, my mom didn't want to leave. She was quote unquote, damn near forced to leave. I helped her leave. I'm glad she left. She's in a great spot. Shout out to Dip. Put her up nice. So she's good. My pops is good. They obviously don't each other, but I with them both, and she was not wrong at all. She did not leave him because he lost his foot. That's a myth that was put out there. What else have I seen? I don't know. But my dad did a great job raising us. My mom did a great job raising us. They didn't work out, and it is what it is, man. They both doing well, and I love them both. Pretty sure we all know that the internet has been an uproar about the situation. I'm going to touch on it briefly. First and foremost, I want to say I love both my parents, but the situation that is put before y'all is not how it went down. I'm not about to get into all the details. But long story short, my mom didn't want to leave. She was quote unquote, damn near forced to leave. I helped her leave. I'm glad she left. She's in a great spot. Shout out to Dip. Put her up nice. So she's good. My pops is good. They obviously don't each other, but I with them both, and she was not wrong at all. She did not leave him because he lost his foot. That's a myth that was put out there. What else have I seen? I don't know. But my dad did a great job raising us. My mom did a great job raising us. They didn't work out, and it is what it is, man. They both doing well, and I love them both. Pretty sure we all know that the internet has been in an uproar about the situation. I'm going to touch on it briefly. First and foremost, I want to say I love both my parents, but the situation that is put before y'all is not how it went down. I'm not about to get into all the details. But long story short, my mom didn't want to leave. She was quote unquote, damn near forced to leave. I helped her leave. I'm glad she left. She's in a great spot. Shout out to Dip. Put her up nice. So she's good. My pops is good. They obviously don't each other, but I with them both, and she was not wrong at all. She did not leave him because he lost his foot. That's a myth that was put out there. What else have I seen? I don't know. But my dad did a great job raising us. My mom did a great job raising us. They didn't work out, and it is what it is, man. They both doing well, and I love them both. Pretty sure we all know that the internet has been an uproar about the situation. I'm going to touch on it briefly. First and foremost, I want to say I love both my parents, but the situation that is put before y'all is not how it went down. I'm not about to get into all the details. But long story short, my mom didn't want to leave. She was quote unquote, damn near forced to leave. I helped her leave. I'm glad she left. She's in a great spot. Shout out to Dip. Put her up nice. So she's good. My pops is good. They obviously don't each other, but I with them both, and she was not wrong at all. She did not leave him because he lost his foot. That's a myth that was put out there. What else have I seen? I don't know. But my dad did a great job raising us. My mom did a great job raising us. They didn't work out, and it is what it is, man. They both doing well, and I love them both. Pretty sure we all know that the internet has been an uproar about the situation. I'm going to touch on it briefly. First and foremost, I want to say I love both my parents, but the situation that is put before y'all is not how it went down. I'm not about to get into all the details. But long story short, my mom didn't want to leave. She was quote unquote, damn near forced to leave. I helped her leave. I'm glad she left. She's in a great spot. Shout out to Dip. Put her up nice. So she's good. My pops is good. They obviously don't each other, but I with them both, and she was not wrong at all. She did not leave him because he lost his foot. That's a myth that was put out there. What else have I seen? I don't know. But my dad did a great job raising us. My mom did a great job raising us. They didn't work out, and it is what it is, man. They both doing well, and I love them both.
You, what it do? This is your favorite coach's favorite coach, your favorite fat freckle man, the big dog himself, who host of the Life Be Lifing podcast. Yeah, John, what up, bro? Thanks for tapping in with me. That is John from the Sports for You podcast. If you need a sports podcast to check out outside of GNT Sports, but maybe you're on the West Coast and maybe you need something a little bit with a little bit more, or you're from the West Coast and you need something with a little bit more West Coast flavor, then for sure go ahead and check my folks out at Sports for You podcast. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. Shout out to GNT Sports, you know what I'm saying? These sports podcasts that I frequent more than the other ones, you heard? And shout out to them and the love and support they constantly show. Life be life and myself, man. Appreciate y'all. Yo, top chatter in the building. What it do, man? Um, so I played that clip because we used the clip from LeVar Ball and his interview. My guy Slice. Shout out to Slice, shout out to GB, shout out to Dev and the Talk Heavy podcast, man. Especially, like I said, man, another podcast that just be showing love, another group of brothers just out here that's always supportive and helpful in, what it is we doing out here. So shout out to bro being able to tap in. A lot of times he got to do his pod around this time. So glad he was able to donate a couple of moments to, jump in the chat. Taya, aka Author T, aka Taya the Curator. What's up, huh? So yeah, I did want to make sure to post that clip because we want to be, even though we're giving opinions, I give opinions. Uh when facts are introduced, I want to make sure that the facts are in play, right? Like when there's further information, I want to make sure to include that. I don't want to just give opinions and ignore that there may be other information there. Um, so though we briefly spoke on that LeVar Ball clip where he mentioned that his wife left and they're no longer together. Um, we now I will say, just to be clear, Miss Tommy and myself did say that we did not know, nor were we saying for a fact that we were informed of why, uh, why they were getting divorced or why she left. We did indeed say that. So don't get too tricky with us on that. Um, we just speculated that that could have been a factor in why she left. But their oldest son came to clear the air, said that wasn't the issue, said she didn't even want to leave. And I don't know how much of the truth even he knows, right? Because at the end of the day, like we said when we brought it up, the only people who really know what happened is LeVar and his wife. Um, but but I just wanted to make sure, in fairness of trying to tell the complete story and trying to be as honest and as truthful and respectful to the situations we speak on, I wanted to make sure to include the information that Zoe brought to social media as far as his take on what happened between his mom and his pop, right? So I had to include that part. Now, before we get all the way into the topic, a couple of things I want to go ahead and mention. I know I've tried to introduce a couple of different features this season. Some hit, some missed. Um, but I got more, right? I got more because I'm always trying to try something new to see what gravitates, what y'all gravitate to. All right. So before I get all the way, and I'll bring it up again later on in the podcast, like around when I'm about to close out. This was probably, I always say it's not going to be a long episode and end up being long, but I don't intend for this to be a long episode. I just really kind of had something to say that was inspired out of that topic beyond the conversation that Tommy and I had for her session for sex ed with grown folks last week. By the way, shout out to her every month, getting better and better, just always bringing the energy, always having great information, and always having positive conversation. Shout out to Miss Tommy, man. All right. That being said, so um, I got this feature that I want y'all to feel comfortable to participate in. It's called "Put Me In, Coach." So I know a lot of times y'all be in the audience and y'all might hear a conversation that y'all might particularly feel like, damn, I wish I could jump on and talk about this, or I have something to say about this, or so forth and so on. But you weren't initially intended to be a guest, or you don't necessarily want to sit here and jump on for the entirety of the episode. You just have a point that you feel like typing ain't gonna quite get the point across. So you want to verbalize your point. Well, I invite y'all to do that with the "Put Me In, Coach" feature. So if you're in the chat having a conversation about something and you want to make a point about it, you have a 5 minute max to well, it may be a little bit more than 5 minutes, but let's just start out with a 5 minute max to come on, bring yourself on to the pod and have that conversation mid episode, or make your points or counterpoints mid episode. You'll put me in the chat. I mean, you'll put me in, coach, and I'll, if you don't already have the link for Riverside, I'll send you the link. Um, Matter of fact, I'll post it on Facebook either tomorrow or Saturday, just so people have access to it in advance. So that way, when they feel froggy and they feel like leaping, they have the opportunity to just go ahead. They should already have the app downloaded to, whatever device they're going to use, phone, laptop, tablet, whatever. And that way they could just jump in the conversation. And again, like I said, it'll just be for that portion of the conversation as opposed to necessarily having to be on for the entire episode. Also, y'all will have the option, if you don't want to go visual, right? Because I know for ladies, they gotta look right, their hair gotta look right, so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? Since you didn't plan on being on camera, you didn't dress for it. You might not look, might not look camera ready, but you still want to speak your piece. Feel free to come on and do like so. Turn the camera off. Say whatever it is you have to say. You know what I'm saying? While the camera isn't on, so you can still contribute. You can still, say your piece without having to look crazy. It's just that simple. Just turn the camera off. Because I want to continuously engage you guys. I want you guys to feel like this is your community, and I want you to feel like, just because you weren't the scheduled guest, or just because I'm doing a solo, that you have to stay on the outskirts. Because sometimes typing don't get across what we want to say. So I want y'all to have the freedom to, go ahead and say what you got to say. Now, it's not going to be 15 people coming up at once. That much I'm going to say. We're not going to do a whole bunch of people doing that at once, because then that's going to take away from the episode. But I'll say probably maybe like a 3-person max. And like you do in sports, I'll consider that bench points. Now, if we get enough contribution on a regular basis, we'll start counting up your bench points. We'll start having uh the sixth player of the week. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have the sixth player of the week. Well, the night, red, because we're only on for one night a week. We'll have the sixth man of the night. We'll have the sixth man of the month, and if people continue to participate, then of course at the end of the season, we'll have the sixth man of the year, and I'll have to try to find some award to grant whoever the sixth man of the year is. So, again, I just want you guys to feel as comfortable engaging with the content as I feel in bringing the content to you guys. That being said, Top Chatter and Ty going back and forth being silly in the comments, but he said Ty gonna be posted at the scorers table. You act like you won't be at the scorers table too, blood. Um, but for sure, uh, more than welcome. Anybody is more than welcome. Of course, I'm probably gonna try to encourage some people, Crystal, to feel free and come on and get their parts without, even if they don't feel like being seen. Because I know some people are camera shy, but they still have something to say that I think that would actually either help the conversation or maybe voice something that somebody else had on their mind, right? Right. All right. Now, let's get more to the actual topic. I'm going to replay the LeVar Ball clip because there's one line, and I want y'all to understand I'm playing the clip just so you can hear him say, you know what? I don't really need to play the clip. I will just say that when he was talking about the breakup, what he said was, he spoke from a place of being okay. Damn, bro, I was gonna throw the heat off me. Nah, you catch some of that heat too. In fact, I guess I'll play the clip because it's gonna probably hit a little better just hearing it coming from him. Unless y'all don't want me to, and y'all just because I don't want to waste time if y'all feel like it's a waste of time. Ty said we got it. All right, if y'all got it, y'all got it. Cool. So when he was explaining the separation from his wife, and he didn't really talk about it in a dour sense. He spoke on it like, it happens, right? Like it is what it is. But I want to focus on the one line he said, and again, this has absolutely really nothing to do with LeVar Ball's situation. It's just that this line stood out to me, and that's what's inspiring this conversation. We had our run. You need the context, brother? All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Give me 2 shakes and I got it for you. Because it's already not far on my list. All right, here we go. I'll play it now.
With my wife, who Tina decided to go her own way. That's why you don't see it right here. But she want to go do something else. That's fine with me. We had our run. We had our run. So even though she had the stroke and getting older, she would never be like, oh man, she was always beautiful in my eyes until you say, I want to go do something else.
Yeah.
Now you're not as beautiful to me again. And the fact that if you decide to go this way, I'm gonna go that way. That's fine.
That's deep.
It is what it is, man. And like I said, anytime you can find somebody you can stay in love with for a long time, or for one day or whatever, if you can witness that love, that's good. I had that with her, and I found somebody else. But it is what it is.
Wait, who?
No need to worry. And you know
Sorry, I'm
what?
moving.
With my wife, who Tina decided to go her own way. That's why you don't see it right here.
Play it
But
one more
she
time.
want
Make
to go
sure
do
everybody
something
catch
else.
it.
That's fine with me. We had our run. We had our run. So even though she had the stroke and getting older, she would never be like, oh man, she was always beautiful in my eyes until you say, I want to go do something else.
Yeah.
Now you're not as beautiful to me again. And the fact that if you decide to go this way, I'm gonna go that way. That's fine.
That's deep.
It is what it is, man. And like I said, anytime you can find somebody you can stay in love with for a long time, or for one day or whatever, if you can witness that love, that's good. I had that with her, and I found somebody else. But it is what it is.
Wait, who?
No need to worry. And you know
Sorry, I'm
what?
moving.
All right. Played it twice to make sure everybody had a chance to hear it. So y'all got the concept of what he was saying, I'm sure. But the line that stuck out to me was we had our run. And that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight. That I don't think is going to take very long because I think we'll kind of all agree and understand the concept. We had our run. That's a low key, powerful line, right? One, it shows acceptance of even the unfortunate uh, things in life. Marriage ain't for life no more. We should stop saying till death do us part. We should agree to 10 years with an option to renew. Hey, I ain't mad at that comment, bro. I ain't mad at that comment for real. Because yeah, not everybody uh not everybody wants to stick it out. Pause. Not everybody wants to, do till death do you part. And not everybody got married for the right reasons in the first place, right? Like when it comes to marriage, there's that. Not everybody even got married for the right reasons to begin with. So if we didn't get married for the right reasons to begin with, hopefully I'm coming in clear to y'all. Um, then it's hard to stay for life. And yes, I know some people's grandparents and great grandparents stuck together for life. Uh, but at some point, there was an agreement, whether it was spoken or unspoken between the two, that there was something either somebody was going to be either they would both be too disadvantaged to go their separate ways, or um, they understood that there was other things they were staying together for. I'm not making excuses for nobody marriage. I'm just saying we know that's the real when it comes to the generations before us. However, there are some people that are still together, whether they're going long and going strong, pause. Whether they're still together for, however many years and they're still happy, whether they're still together for however many years despite not being happy, whether they've decided that their marriage is not going to be about happiness, it's going to be about what they're going to accomplish together as a unit, and then they'll try to find the spots of joy in between. Whatever it is, there's people who are still together. So I'm not gonna, bash marriage as an institution. And I'm not saying you are, bro. Just to be clear, I'm not gonna bash marriage as an institution. I don't even want this conversation to be clearly just about marriage. I want this conversation to be about the concept of we had our run. I think that it's so easy to get down about situations we no longer are in that we enjoyed, relationships that we no longer have that we really enjoyed and look forward to, friendships, partnerships, um, business opportunities, jobs, uh, shoot, your favorite store, whatever it is, right? I definitely have 30 years is a very long time. Um, you know what I'm saying? I'm 19 years in. Next year will be 20. And truth be told, my wife and I have known each other for longer than we haven't at this point in life. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a crazy thing to say that in all our years of life, we've literally known each other for longer than we haven't known each other. And I'm not saying that staying in a marriage for a long time makes a marriage great. But again, like I said, this conversation, I don't even want it to hang solely on marriage. Um, yeah, like 30 years is a long time, not to mention what they accomplished in that 30 years together. Uh, right? Because the amount of time is not as important as what you did during the time. Um, because if you spent 30 years together and ain't accomplish nothing, ain't do nothing, don't have nothing really to show for it, whether and somebody been together 5 years and was able to get the same results as LeVar Ball did with just one kid. Um, you know what I mean? So it's always quality over quantity, right? Right. Um, but yeah, you like you said, damn near life for them. You're not lying. Um, But again, this is not a conversation solely about marriage. This is a conversation about our connections. This is a conversation about being able to accept no longer having those connections and being able to look back on it fondly because it doesn't always end well, right? It doesn't always end amicably. Like one day, I have the fear, believe it or not, that one day somebody's gonna have a basketball in their hands. They're gonna look at me and they're gonna say, "You want to play pig?" You want to play 100? And I'm gonna have to say, nah, I can't do that no more. Like that's genuinely a fear for me because I love basketball that much. Um, recently, when we're talking about passions and things we love, recently I've had to. Y'all see all these comic books and stuff behind me, right? Not to mention, I got some nerd and comic book related content coming to Life Be Lifing in the very near future, within the next couple of months. So hopefully, I can still make that interesting for the people who are not nerds. But if not, I'm doing them episodes anyway because I just looking too forward to having those conversations with certain people. And of those will probably all end up in the For the Culture playlist, right? Because nerd culture is its own culture, and blurred culture is still black culture. Anyway, um, I've started to have to make decisions about comic books. Believe it or not, sounds crazy. I've been collecting comic books ever since I was a kid, right? But I went through the age of being misinformed about the collector's part as far as how you going to make bread off it. And what I realized is that I have a lot of, I guess the sneakerheads, what would sneakerheads equated to? Dead stock, maybe? I'm not a sneakerhead, but what y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Um, I have a lot of dead comic books. I have a lot of worthless comic books, come to find out. Like worthless. I titles that I collected or issues that I collected because it was supposed to be special, because it was supposed to mean something down the road, because I was supposed to be able to preserve it, pass it down to my kids, and then, when they get to a certain time, they can either pass it down to their kids or they could cash out on it. And honestly, it's not going to be worth $1. So one of the things that I'm realizing is that the idea of buying comic books just for the collection thing, I'm kind of walking away from, to be honest. I haven't said that y'all actually getting an exclusive because I haven't said this to anybody yet. I was saving this for this conversation. Um, and that's a big, big part of my life. So it's not to say that I won't still read comic books. It's not to say I won't still buy comic books. But if anything, I'll probably just do it for the enjoyment going forward. Like I'll just cop for the enjoyment. Now don't get me wrong, if I could get a deal on something that I know is going to, bring back some finances, then I'll probably take that opportunity. But the comic book industry has gotten so murky, it's been so deceitful, it's been so corrupt, and greed has just made comic book collecting such a dirty game that I don't want to continue to play from the aspect of going through the bargain bin to find stuff that I hope I'm going to be able to make bread with, man. Um, None of those comics will be worth money in the long run. Those days are almost over. I wouldn't say none. I will reject that idea. I wouldn't say none. I would not say none. There are some comic books that just, for the simple fact that you are always going to have people who are going to want to pay money for things, hubcaps, bottle caps, yo-yos, bro. Like people are going to always want to pay money for anything that's considered collectible. So there will be comics that will always be worth stuff. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Believe you me, bro. Always. There's always going to be a market because it's considered a collectible. Same thing for trading cards, bro. That being said, and look at you. I'm glad I already made this decision because you came in being a joy killer. You just like, I'm glad I already came to the realization, bro. Lord. But um like having to find out however many years ago that I swore the death of soup. You could say, you could put it in caps all you want. You're still wrong. you're you're wrong in capital letters. Wrong in capital letters and big font. Don't make you right. For sure, I'm gonna mark your words, bro. For sure, I'm gonna mark your words. But at the end of the day, all right, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see, bro. We shall see. That being said, uh, like something like I was around. Yeah, I'm old enough to say I was around for the death of Superman, and I got hit with that whammy. I got hit with that whammy, right? Buying into that and getting the death of Superman, getting the Doomsday books that led up to the death of Superman, getting the rise of the Superman. Excuse me, mind you, it was an enjoyable read. So, worth anything or not, I still will keep copies. Some copies I'm going to sell probably like yard sale style, and some I'm gonna donate because I have doubles and triples. So some things I'm gonna donate at some point, just so people could say they have access to it. But yeah, so like finding out years ago that like I wasted my time trying to make sure I got the black bag copy of it. I could sit here and mope about it, but I enjoyed surfing through the bargain bins. I enjoyed going from store to store because maybe I saw this issue at that store, and you know what I mean? Uh you are being petty. You are being petty, sir. Petty. Petty. I ain't gonna say no more about it. Cause you spicing it. You trying to cause friction between two black men, bro. You causing dissension. But so yeah, like it could be some big down thing, like losing a part of my childhood, quote unquote. Um, you know, uh parting with the idea of return on investment and stuff like that. But as a comic book collector, as somebody who was going around collecting comic books for the purpose of trying to get some bread, I had my run. We had our run. We had our run. Shout out to, Atomic City on South Philly, black owned store. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the captain out in Kensington, Ontario. Hey Katie, thanks for showing up. Shout out to Fat Jacks, although they've been closed for a couple of years now. Shout out to Fat Jacks, except for that black dude that worked there, who I think just had something against black dudes from the hood. Self-hating raccoon. Um, I remember where there was comic book stores all over the city. So like at the end of the day, I had my run. I had my run. So why pout about it, right? And I think that's kind of the thing that I want to take away from that whole conversation is, again, we had our run, right? Um, what's another example? Uh, you used to love Fat Jackson. I ain't never get no invite. See how you be rolling, Katie? See how you be rolling? Um, but yeah, so and shout out to Ariel Jones, man. I mean, sorry, Ariel Johnson. I know her store closed out in Kensington years ago. I'm not even sure what she's doing right now. She probably moved back to DC. Um, but shout out to her for being the first black female comic book store owner on the East Coast. Shout out to her for making that happen, to everything she did with her store, to the way she ran her store. Uh, COVID, she was one of those stores that just couldn't survive through COVID and how that interrupted the market. LeVar wife probably wanted to test the market once that happened. It's a wrap. I mean, again, we don't know because her son is saying one story, Other people believe in, whatever speculations like how you just made. We don't know. I ain't even here, like I said, really, really to get into his business. I just really want to take that concept of we had our run. I want the lifers to be able to, while because grief is real, right? And grieving situations is fair. Grieving loss is fair, right? Grieving this relationship that you thought would end up in marriage, or this marriage that you thought would be for life, or this friendship that you thought was going to be, from the womb to the tomb, or this partnership where you envisioned yourselves, sitting back and making all this bread together. Um, Whatever it is, it's okay and it's fair to grieve that loss. I've grieved relationships. Of course, I've grieved losing people as far as loss of life. I've grieved I've grieved losing both my podcast host partners, right? In terms of them being podcast hosts, not as people, because thank God I still have access to them as friends and as people. You know what I'm saying? Either one of them, I could just hit them up on the phone and they'll, hit me back, right? Like so, you know, but in terms of what we built as podcast hosts together, in terms of the flow, in terms of the dynamic, the chemistry, and all that. I had to grieve all that. But yo, we had our run. Two Kings 215 is something special. It was something special from when we was doing it back on YouTube. Me and Ace talk about it all the time. Like, yo, like I'm glad that we still have some of them YouTube videos up and available because we was ahead of the curve. Like if we had probably stuck with it a little bit longer, who knows where things could have been right now? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure we would have got some paper. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm sure we would have got some paper if we had stuck with it. But it just didn't pay off in the way we needed it to at that time. And we had, we both had other things that we had to handle, like life be life. Okay. So we had to tend to life first. Um, but me and Ace, we had our run as podcast hosts. Me and Mimi, we had our run as podcast hosts. Like Life Be Life and was something different from Two Kings 215 entirely. We were doing show reviews, yo. Like whose podcast is doing show reviews and still giving content after the show review, after the episode review? Usually it's just the episode review. Like your favorite podcast not doing that like how we doing that. Come on, man. Like how we did that. But we had our run. And I want people to be able to, once you get past or once you get through the grieving process of whatever it is, man, like I love my grandma. I love her. I love her so much. That's the only person who that's the first and only person who, no matter what nobody said, I always felt like her favorite. And that meant something to me for how I felt like nobody's favorite when I was growing up. And losing my grandma changed the way the world looked. I didn't even realize how miserable I was or how dark the world got to me the next couple of years. And it's not that I don't still miss her, but I got to have grandma for quite a bit of years. And I could get to say, Grandma, we had our run. The Christmases, the Thanksgivings, the birthdays, the graduations, like she was there for all that up till high school graduation. That's literally, that's the last graduation I've had up until this point. We had a great run. Big Queen B, Benita. We had a great run. We had a great run. You know what I'm saying? Taking me to Carnival in DC. Because we couldn't go to Carnival in Trinidad. I was in school. I wasn't gonna be able to go. So she took me to the DC one to have the experience of what it looks like. One year she took me, she played mass, the other one she didn't, just so we could be more laid back. You know what I'm saying? That's stuff that I'm gonna have with me forever. We had a great run. And I just want people to be able to get to that point in life that whatever it is that you mourning, whatever it is that you're grieving, that you accept the fact that there was some good that came out of it, right? Enjoy the good that came out of it and realize like you had a great run. I had I had to grieve being able to dunk. Okay, I can't dunk nothing but a donut at this point in time in life. You lower the rims, I'm not going to jump to dunk the ball. Hell no. I am terrified of tearing anything else. After I tore my Achilles, I'm legitimately terrified of any other type of major injuries. And I didn't even get surgery for the Achilles. So all my friends who had ACL, MCL, broken hip, all these things that required surgery, I couldn't even, with my situation, I couldn't even have surgery because if I had the surgery, I was going to be bedridden. But there was going to be nobody to stay home and take care of me. My wife had to go back to work. My kids had to go to school. Being bedridden wasn't going to work. So I had to thug it out. Praise God for giving me the strength. Glory to God for, allowing me to heal to where I could get back on the court and play at all. Forget being good, just do it at all. So if the day comes where I got to walk away from the game altogether, no threes, no 2-on-2s, no competitive basketball whatsoever, I'm gonna mourn it, I'm gonna grieve it, but I'm gonna be able to look back and say, dear basketball, we had a great run. So that's really it, y'all. Like, this is not a complicated conversation. This is not the deepest of conversations. And like I said, it wasn't something that had to be super long-winded or anything like that. I just really it when I was just sitting there, I think it was Monday. I was trying to book a guest for this week. They hadn't responded. And I heard the clip again, and that just sunk in about we had a great run. Like, I get it. I get it. We want the good things to last forever, but a lot of times that's not how it go. Sometimes we got to say we had a good run to our bad habits, okay? If we want growth, if we want to go farther, we have to let go of our bad habits. And sometimes people talk about bad habits as if there's never any fun in that. Like you didn't get nothing out of that. Let me tell you, there's some bad habits and some poor character traits that'll get you far. If you want to be honest. If we want to be all the way straight and want to be all the way honest, there are some bad and poor character traits that'll help get you far depending on what industry you're in, what it is you're trying to do, your environment. There's some bad habits that can carry you, but they will all always only carry you to a certain point. There's a hard ceiling on how far you can go with bad character traits with bad habits. It will always limit how far you can go in life. Always. Always. So then you got to let that go. But you're also letting go some of the privileges that came with it. And you have to be like, we had our run, man. We had our run. So if the day ever comes, lifers, where any of y'all personally have an issue with me, because since starting Life Be Life, and I've definitely lost a friend or two. Hell, in 2026, apparently, I've lost a couple of friends or two. Uh some I understand why, even though no, it wasn't my fault. But some I understand why, some I still don't get, and I'm never gonna understand. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. But to those friends who choose not to be my friends anymore, go with God. Go in grace. We had a good run, you know. But it is what it is. I ain't gonna backbite you. I ain't gonna see you outside on the sidewalk when it's raining and drive in a puddle to splash on you. Whatever you say about me, I ain't even worried about it. Whatever you telling people, because that's another thing, right? Like when you separate from people, the story they tell about you is often not that accurate. It's often going to contain some exaggerations or some understatements or some flat out lies. That's not really your business. As long as the lies aren't harming you in any way, right? Because if the lies are harming your business or your potential business, or you know, if it's getting in the way, you getting some opportunities, then for sure, go after them, fight them lies, and point them out to be the lion ass mump that they are. But otherwise, man, let them have it, man. Let them have it. We all the villain in somebody's story. Shout out to main character energy, but some people don't realize they're not the main character, but they think they are. They have main character syndrome. Not really main character energy. They have main character syndrome. So you're gonna be the bad guy in their story, and that's cool. So when they walk away from you or they cut you off and they ain't said nothing and they ain't communicate, after you get past the loss part, after you get past the confusion part, hell, you might never get past the confusion part because it don't make sense. But I just want y'all to be able to get to a point that whatever it is y'all lost, whatever it is y'all don't have ties to, whoever it is, y'all no longer had ties to. I hope that it wasn't bad the whole time. Let me say that last part about it. I hope y'all wasn't just sitting there suffering in poor situations, whether it's friendship, businesses, relationships. I hope it wasn't bad the whole time to where when you walk away from it, it's like, damn, I was being this dumb dickhead. I was being sweet. I was being this sucker the whole time. I hope you at least had some really good highs to suffer some of the lows that you suffered, and that you can turn around and say, we had our run. If you, for some reason, are not already subscribed to Life Be Life, go ahead, hit the button, definitely hit the bell for all the notifications so that every time I go live or every time I post something, you get a notification. If for some odd reason you are not following me on one of the platforms that I'm on, whether it be this here, like I said, subscribed as a YouTube, or whether it's on IG, or whether it's on Facebook, wherever you see me at, go ahead, follow, like, friend, whatever the term is for that particular medium. You can find Life Be Lifing on most platforms. I won't say all platforms, but we are on TikTok, we are on IG, and we are on Facebook. You can find Nye Charles on Facebook, and you can find Life Be Lifing _9 on IG. You can find Life Be Lifing _9 on Twitch as well. And I'm going to try to do some more gaming content this year. I am going to try to do some more gaming content this year. But instead of focusing so much on the game chat and stuff like that, I'm going to mute the game chat and I'm going to talk to whoever decides to pull up. I'll just converse with y'all while gaming. That's all. Outside of that, hey, remember, hashtag put me in, coach, when you feel like you have something to say. You need to be a guest one day. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. And if you missed my part about put me in, coach, earlier, if excuse me, if you don't want to be on for an entire episode, but you hear part of a conversation that causes you or stirs you to want to say something and say your piece, make sure you put me in, coach, in the chat. Put hashtag put me in, coach, in the chat, and I'll send you the link so that you could join the episode and say your piece. Like if you liked it. If you didn't like it, you could go ahead and hit the dislike. Just make sure you tell me why you didn't like the episode in the comments. Share. Sharing is caring, as they say, and honestly, that's what's going to help this grow. I appreciate all you guys, and I need the eyes of people who don't know me, of people who don't rock with me, people who've never heard of me, to also watch and listen in order for our community to expand in the way that it should happen. Not just how I want to happen, but that it should happen. I think we have some good I know we have some great conversations here. I know we have some good minds here to be put together. And I think we could all benefit from that. That being said, let's huddle. Before we huddle up, I want to throw the oop to Miss Tommy. I want to throw the oop to, or rather, I rather not say I throw the oop to. I want to say I appreciate Tommy for throwing me some personal oops this week. I want to appreciate both Taya and Mr. Know It All for throwing me the oop to be on the most recent podcast episode of the Mr. Know It All podcast. I appreciate them. I appreciate Slice. You know what I'm saying? So, actually, I haven't done anything with anybody from Talk Heavy outside of being on Talk Heavy. So having that opportunity to kick it with Slice, and make content with Mr. Know It All, I appreciate them throwing me the oop. So okay, let's huddle up. Let's get ready to get out of here. Everybody on me, on me, on me, on me. Hey, as I always say, first and foremost, finally catch the live and it's at the end. Ain't that crazy, Kev? Ain't that crazy? Crazy as hell. Yeah, we huddling up now, man. We huddling up. Hey, man, shout out to you. Shout out to you for throwing me the hoop on this whole concept. But we huddling up now. So one, put me in, coach. Hashtag put me in, coach. You hear something going on in the podcast, you want to jump in because you have something to say. Hashtag put me in, coach. Excuse me. No matter what it is you lost, no matter who it is you lost, no matter what opportunity it is you lost, once you get past the grieving part, or once you get to a positive space past your grieving period, look back on the situation, smile, and say, we had our run. Because some people didn't have the opportunities to have the experiences that you've had, or experience some of the people that you've experienced. So look back, smile, and say, we had our run. As always, shout out to my brother A.C.E. That's who he always be. Shout out to the sponsor of Two Kings 215 and the Life Be Life in podcast, the owner of Simply in the Shade Catering, co-owner of Second Line Express, Denver's mom, Russ's new wife, Mrs. Quiche with the cake. As I always say, be patient, be smart, be respectful, be kind to as many people as you possibly can. I know some people are going to make that impossible. That's fine. Forget those people. But make sure every single day to take the time to be kind to yourselves, because we cannot pour out of an empty cup. All right. Let's break on 3. We're going to break on run. That's what we're going to break on. Run on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we all got our hands in? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, run. All right, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for spending your time with me. Y'all could have been anywhere else in the world, but y'all decided to be here with me on a Thursday night at 9 o'clock, which I will be back here again next Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, like, share, subscribe. Be good to other people. Be good to yourself. And I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.